Global family, hope all is well with everyone today. Listen, we have an exciting show today. We're going to talk about unmarried, single, but not forgotten. And we're going to dig into some intimacy when it comes to not just dating, but also married couples that are in the field and trying to figure out what to do when it comes to dating and spicing up their marriage. You know, we're going to talk about that. But we have two wonderful guests. You know, we have Tigress and we have also a guest with Danielle. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. That's how we do Global Family. We're going to let them introduce themselves. And then I have some questions about the book that we're going to go into. You know, so we have who?
Danielle. Hi everyone, my name is Danielle and I am the author of Unmarried, Single, but Not Forgotten.
Yes.
And I am Tigress Daniel. I am scientist first. I am thankful to be a PhD candidate, even though it is tiring.
Congratulations.
And I'm crazy enough to also pursue the field of law for civil rights. So I just finished my second year, so pray my strength.
Yes,
and it's just really important to be here in this asset.
Yes, most definitely. Yes, most definitely. And so, with that being said, let's get into the meat of this because I'm excited to talk about this because I believe a lot of families, not just families, but individuals right now, when it comes to even dating right now, they deem it maybe hard, difficult. So we're gonna talk about some tips, some ideas, we're gonna get into this really, really good. So we're talking unmarried, single, but not forgotten. So I'm gonna ask Danielle this question: why the title?
Okay. So when it comes to that title, first off, I'm unmarried. Second, I'm single. And the third thing is I know that God has not forgotten me. And that's something that I usually speak to young ladies that come to me that want to be mentored. I just let them know that, you know, God has a season and He has a time when He wants to give you your God-ordained mate. So that book is kind of clarifying that and just letting everybody know that, hey, you're not alone in this single walk.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it's interesting because to be transparent, I honestly thought I was going to do this show myself, you know, talking about intimacy. And I think this moment, I just met Tigress, 2 days ago, right? I just met Tigress 2 days ago, and we had, watch how cool I sound. We had a dope conversation, right, inside the post office. And the conversation we had was more so about this book, and also we're talking about intimacy, what's going on inside of you. So we're going to dig a little bit into this book. This is a great book, guys. Okay, we're gonna put up there where you can find this book, and actually you guys go and purchase this book. Do not awaken love before it's time. That is a conversation right there. You know, so not to be preachy, but that'll preach, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So with that title, why? What does that mean to you?
So when it comes to the title, it's just something that's in me. Do not awaken love before it's time. It's in the Bible. It's in Songs of Solomon. And what Solomon was trying to get across, again, to young unmarried women, he was trying to let them know, like, don't awaken love before it's time. Wait on the love that God has for you because it's going to be love worth having you. Right. So whenever I saw that in the Bible, can I tell you something? It actually strengthened me, really, really well because I'm reminded whenever I get weary, whenever I kind of get frustrated, you know, in the single life, I go back to that scripture. And it's just my little reminder that God is going to send that God-ordained man. I don't need to be anxious for nothing. I don't need to be weary for nothing because I'm special. I'm one of God's daughters.
Yes, that's awesome. So with that being said, that is perfect, you know. And Tigress, did you have anything that you wanted to comment on that? That's well said.
Of course.
Yeah.
So African principles also teach, and especially with regards to agriculture. I I love to make a lot of references scientifically.
Right.
And we've seen those also in the Bible, and they're especially beautiful. So we know that when we plant a seed, right, for anything, for a plan, for a relationship, for a friendship, even for strengthening our familial relationships, right?
Right.
That it takes time for it to grow. And I'm such a geek when it comes to the science aspect of it. So I love to watch the plant like from day to day, and it just never ceases to amaze me, the process that it has to go through before you get to see the flower.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yes, absolutely.
So everything she just said, you know, it's not parallel, it's equal. You have to give things that time to mature.
Yes.
We do that with our wine, we do that with just about every other aspect of our life, but somehow when it comes to intimacy, we think, well, we're supposed to be immediately connected, and immediately we stumble over the people we interact with, because they have their own set of environmental factors they've gone through.
Yes.
We have our own set, and we're not taking that into account. And again, just like the flower, that seed that is in the germination phase, it's going through all those processes to eventually become something very beautiful.
And to that point, it's definitely an expectation that that flower is going to come out beautiful. You know, so listen, what I'm telling you, my wife's going to be beautiful. You hear me? So I definitely want to go into this point. This is also raised an eyebrow when I saw it. I'm like, this is a good book. The Unmarried Desires, right? Unmarried Desires. So what did that mean? Or I'm sure that this set in your journal, I can only imagine this set in your journal just on fire, right? So what does this mean?
So Unmarried Desires, when it comes to single people, our desires should be God desires, because God gives us our desires.
Right.
And the main thing that God wants us to do in our single time is just use it to the fullest. You know, put our focus on Him, learn who we are, our identity, because when you actually get into a marriage and you don't know who you are, guess what happens? You lose your identity in the person that you marry, and you don't know yourself. So after that, you know, divorce happens and you're trying to find out who you are. So why not do it the right way and get to know who you are through God? So the unmarried desires should be God's desires that He has for you.
Listen now.
You want to snap? You want to snap?
That's good. That's good. What you feel about that, Tiger?
You already know based on what we were talking about. Because so I have a saying that men and women,
right,
and sometimes it gets under some people's skin, but you know, I'm talking to a very specific part of ourselves. You know what I mean? And
being
just like you got it, just like in continence, we all need to learn how to hold our pee.
Right,
And sexually. Right? And not only, you know, so the lust aspect of it and those things, and this doesn't mean it's going to be easy.
Right.
No one said it's going to be easy, but we all know, even when we try to make it a gender specific gravitation, like, oh, maybe a man can sleep around and not be emotionally connected. That's not true.
Right, correct.
It's just that those emotions are suppressed. And then it becomes a, you know, like a snowball effect when they're interacting with other individuals. Same thing for women, or in some cases they become hardened. We both do, right?
Correct.
And if we learn how to hold our pee,
yes.
And I use that because I teach these principles to even my son, even this young, so that he understands that sexual desire, that lust, there's a responsibility that comes along with that.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to find yourself regretful, like so many of us when we've had children out of wedlock, like myself. Myself and his father we were very, very regretful after the fact. But at that point, sometimes too often the damage is deep and done.
Right.
So yeah, we all need to learn better how to just control those desires.
And the truth be told, we're gonna circle that back because there's more that I want to pull out of that comment. And definitely speaking to the intimacy portion of it, we're going into the next question that I have. The next question I have is something from the book. I want to hear your perspective because this is a good book. Guys, listen what I'm telling you. Go get this book, okay? So the question is, or not even the question, it's form of question, is sex a sin? Right? Yes. So tell me what is your perspective when it comes to is sex a sin?
So when we think about whether or not it's sex is sin, because that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially when you're in Christ. What happens is, well, first of all, let me say this: sex is not a sin. It's just whenever you start getting these feelings and you're in the body of Christ and people are telling you not to have sex, you feel like that you're sinning. You feel like that you're not doing the right things because you're having this feeling. And that's how, again, that's part of the book and why it came about. But there's actually just questions or answers not being answered when it comes to the single population, and they want to know about sex. But sex is not a sin. Outside of marriage, it is a sin. Sex is actually, something for us to enjoy. But when you're not married, that's when it becomes a sin because you're sinning against your own body.
Right, correct.
Not only that, but a lot of things come from, sex. Pregnancy, diseases, all of that. If you're not doing it right, if you're not protecting yourself. But outside of marriage, that's when it becomes a sin. Inside of marriage, enjoy yourself.
Listen, have a ball. So what do you feel about this, Tigers?
All right, so I'm glad that she seems to be taking the aspect of the Christianity, and of course that's central to your book, and it's beautiful, and it's important. But I feel that I'm glad that I'm here to give maybe a different perspective.
Right, correct.
So I do not profess, and I was raised Southern Baptist, but I do not identify as a Christian anymore. However, I am far from atheist. I definitely believe in a higher power. I just believe that no one religion got it right. So I don't want to be that individual who finds, ourselves at the end of this journey and God kind of giggles and says, well, that was cute, but it was wrong. It was all wrong. But in and of itself, still the principles are still, they're extremely valid. And I admit and acknowledge that all the time. With that said,
Correct.
I completely 1,000 agree with what she just said. I believe that sin, in and of itself, when you break it down academically or psychologically, is just a divide from your balance. And we know that for Christianity, the balance is that spiritual relationship with God, right? And otherwise, it is your spiritual relationship with God, just period,
Right, correct.
Outside of any particular denomination. And so, just like she said, when you engage it and you know that you're divided from the principles that are core to it, it's not going to be well for you. You can't expect for it to be fruitful. And she's saying, in marriage, however, of course it's going to be beautiful. It's going to enhance your relationship.
Right.
But otherwise, I think that, again, and it took me a while because, I'm an older woman. I'm not 20 anymore. So, I'm 45 and and well, I always say 45. I'll be 45 in December. 44. So, you have to realize that you just have to learn to control yourself. Self-control is one of the very most difficult things to master. But when you get that's where you're balanced with your maker, you're balanced with other people, how you interact. That's when everything starts to really bear true fruit. Not just, oh, this moment in time, this instant gratification, this instant feeling of sexual, yeah. So I agree with her completely.
Yeah. So in other words, put a container on it while you are single, okay?
Yeah.
I know there's frustration. I know all that happens, but just put it in a jar, tighten it up, put that container on it.
Yes.
I agree.
So listen, I'm going to circle back. Believe this when I tell you, I'm quiet right now. But to the point of you have some questions for me as far as a male perspective. Now, let me say this though. Two of our hosts are not here today. David Ballard, we love you. Also, Coach Tyrell Anderson, we love you. We appreciate it. We had a guest, Monica. She wasn't able to make it because of traffic. We love you. Thank you for even trying, because I know that you tried. So, going to your question that you have, right?
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so yes, I do have some questions, and if you want the audience to help you out, just say the word. I know they will be willing.
Absolutely.
So the first question is, what are the expectations for a male role versus the female role?
Right. So let me ask you this question first. I'm definitely going to answer that question because I want to not be biased, right? So let me ask you. Can you answer this question first, and then I'm gonna come right in right
This
after.
is a loaded gun.
Yes, it is.
So, oh goodness. We put too many expectations. You already know these things. We put too many expectations on ourselves gender-wise.
Right.
And it doesn't allow us to be vulnerable to one another.
Right.
It prevents the process of intimacy.
Absolutely.
Because each of us, when interacting, the man and the woman together, are trying to innately play a role.
Correct.
Even if they have grown in wisdom and have learned, what's wrong and, what's healthy and what's unhealthy, I should say that instead of wrong and right.
Yeah.
That will take another segment, I guarantee you.
Yes.
But in all in all, the one thing that if I could put anything, if I had only one sentence that I could put out in the world about gender relationships, I would say that we need to take the stereotypes and put them in the trash.
Right. Correct.
We need to have patience and love for one another.
Yes.
Stop vilifying our men.
Yes.
We must, because the vilification of men from the female perspective is a projection of anger. And you cannot have a healthy relationship if the core of your discussion, every way that you interact with someone, is through anger.
Yes.
So we can speak to each other about the issues that have presented themselves gender-wise over the years and, have become the muck that we're in. But in order to get around it right now, we have to put the stereotypes in the trash, give men an opportunity to be a little softer,
Right.
give women an opportunity to be a little harder, and find our balance together.
Yes. So, and part of why I wanted Tigress to answer this question, because one of the things that I had to learn quick was when I was injured, when I was in the wheelchair. It had to be a balance. The balance in the house. Because I'm not able to do certain things no more, So the things that I'm not able to do is perfect to have someone that will do it. Not I guess I could say do it for me, So in particular, I'm so used to doing things on my own, get it done. I got it, sit down, type deal. But it's good that you have that balance, because this is how you go from glory to glory and not lack the glory. So now you're meeting each other versus coming behind each other. So one of the things that even in dating, that was a challenge for me, going out on a date with this one particular woman. She's awesome. The waitress actually. The waitress actually came. She was taking her time. We found our food that we wanted, and I had to use the restroom. And so I got up to use the restroom, and then I saw the waitress coming. So I turned around and went back to the table. She tapped my hand. She said, "Go do what it is that you said that you was gonna do." You know, I said, "Oh, the waitress coming." She said, "You told me what you're gonna eat. I got you when you come back." I said, "My God." Right? That is a turn on, because you gotta make sure that you have someone that have a balance with you. So when you're not able to do certain things, she's able to. And when I came back to the table, not only did she have my dressing, she got an alternate dressing just to make sure that everything was in. I said, "This girl right here," right? So to answer the question. I can't tell you what a woman's role is, because I look at a woman as a superwoman, because I don't know everything that you're going to be faced with, but I do believe that you can handle it, So we're going to go to the next question. If not, we can ask the audience what y'all feel about this. Y'all have a question on this, or y'all good?
I have a question.
Okay, we have a question from the audience.
You want to come over here?
Yeah, come closer. You can stand up and come to the mic, please.
Alcohol.
Okay. My question that I have for everybody that's on the panel is, what do you feel like you need to do in order for you to be that person that you desire to have? In other words, what qualities and what things are you putting into yourself to resonate with what you're trying to look for in return? So for example, if you want to be a husband, what are some things that you are learning and what you are putting into your character, so that way not only you can be that husband, but then show that to your potential wife, and vice versa?
Yeah. So if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna attack that question. So one of the things that for myself, identifying who you are, right? It takes time, and that's why we talk about intimacy. Intimacy is actually finding out who you are, because if you don't know who you are, there's no way that you can help, right? So part of it is to identify what it is that you don't compete. Don't try to compete. And I had this conversation 2 days ago with Tigress, and the conversation that we had was based on what's inside of the body.
Yes.
What's inside of the body, a lot of times people would, coming up, they would try to dress up the outside, they'll put rims on the car, they'll paint the car, but the engine bad. Right? So fix the engine, because that's longevity, right? So if you fix what's inside of you, you can actually now move longer, right? Yeah. So in a way, I'm answering part of the question, but a lot of the things that God enables you to be able. So what's inside of you is going to put you in a position to win, right?
And so to piggyback on that, exactly what he was saying, I had a moment of transparency with him, and I was explaining to him that, and I'm sure that you deal with the same thing because you're a very beautiful woman, that too often that's what we see.
Right, correct.
Is this outside. And we fail to even have a respect for the experiences that make a person, the freedom, the gift of freedom to be vulnerable and be yourself.
Right.
As opposed to putting on this, facade of, outward beauty is great. I love cosmetics, all those things. I love those things. But at the end of the day, just like I said to you on the other day, I'm much prettier on the inside.
That's right. That's right.
But you're never gonna find that out if
Yeah.
if you don't give me even the respect
Right.
to take the time to get to know me. And I guarantee you, I can't even help you with the process of getting
Yes.
to know, us getting to know one another, if you're not going to really be serious and mature about that.
Yes.
And it also takes emotional intelligence for us all. We must be emotionally intelligent on our own, right? In and of ourselves, and not go around crashing. Remember I said that we have to be very mindful that everybody, just like the movie Crash, I don't know if you've seen it, with Ludacris is in it. Have you seen
Okay.
Oh,
it?
yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah,
see
yeah.
that, yeah.
And it's such a perfect representation of when we recklessly move about life like pinballs, you know, in the machine, not thinking about the cracks that we leave
Right.
as we crash into each other.
Yes. Yes.
And we have to be more considerate.
Yes.
We have to take that pride, just like what you're saying.
Yes.
She's, I've got your back.
Yes.
I want you to
absolutely.
know that you don't have to play man all the time.
Yes. Yes.
That
Absolutely.
you don't need to do that. And equally, I don't want my man to feel that, you know, that I have to be soft all the time.
Right.
There are going to be times where you're going to need me in front of you.
Absolutely.
And it's okay. And it doesn't mean that I am in front of you in this like egotistical way.
Yeah.
It means that we're a team.
Yes,
This is the
yes,
balance.
Yes. Yes.
Where you're strong, I
Yes,
got your back.
yes, yes.
Where you're strong, I'm going to fall back.
That's
and it's
right,
going to be
that's
okay.
right, that's right.
And that's what we need to do.
That's right. And so let me ask you this though. You know, I want you to answer the question if you want to, but because I don't want you to give away what's in this book. Guys, I only pulled 3 chapters out of this book, but this book answers the question that he just asked. You know, in this book, make sure that you purchase this book. But did you have a comment on this?
Not too much. The only thing that I was going to say was that we do place expectations on others, and sometimes you have to kind of look at yourself. And if you want someone that is supportive, someone that is emotionally stable, well, are you those things? You know, so you have to prep and prepare before you even try to go after what it is. After you prep, after you prepare, then you can go after whatever it is that you're seeking. So it starts with you first versus the outer person, you know? So second question, you want to go into that?
Let's go.
All right, so does a man knows he wants to marry a woman once he first meet her and have conversation? Take it to the audience.
Yes. Anybody else? You got a question? You got a question on this? Ask that question
Well,
one
no,
more time.
answer it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Does a man knows he wants to marry a woman once he first meet her and have a conversation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Say yes. What about you?
What you think?
I
It's
definitely
like-
want to chime in.
It's like, yes, at the beginning, because of the physical feature.
Right. He's being
But
honest.
then, once you really start to understand that person more, you like,
Mm-hmm.
or it even get better. You know what I'm saying? So, we say yes on a physical feature.
Right.
Like, damn, I want to get to know her. I want to, yeah.
Yeah.
But once you really get to know it, it really boils down to, is it worth it or not?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So,
I say yes, you can tell initially because of what you're talking about and like how the person responds to it, like as far as like their body language, like they're willing to be vulnerable. Like you, in a sense, can kind of get a degree of what mind frame that person is in. So if y'all are having a nice conversation, and then you hear them speak on certain core values that you have or that you look for in a person, then that can spark something in you where it's like, okay, I see this person different than like he was saying, just the physical attraction. She looked like she has a good head on her shoulder, or there's
Right.
something about her that's intriguing from a more, introspective standpoint where I want to get to know, compared to just wanting to marry somebody just because, she has a nice shape,
Right.
So,
Correct.
You can really tell because some people do have it where they have their goals realized, and then you have some people that are out just to have fun, and they'll let you know that they just want to have fun.
absolutely. Yeah. So initially, my thing is, I always try to go out on at least 4 dates, right? I choose one, she choose one, and
With
we have
that
a
one
mutual.
person. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
with that one person, we have a mutual, mutual date. And being married before, so my perspective is different on how I view the initial conversation. One of the things that I say is that I'm a handful. I really am. And it's not something as far as being cocky or arrogant. It's more so that, yes, I don't want to come off onto a woman as if I've been married before, so this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. That's already a fail, because I'm trying to franchise you to what was. So if I lost, if I'm not married and I try to make you into what was, what is that? Right? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where I am right now is when I meet you, you know, guess what? I'm a virgin. I've never had sex with you. I've never had sex before.
I get it.
So I'm gonna learn you, right? So I'm gonna learn everything about you. Everything is new with me. What we do, how we move, how we communicate, everything is new. You're gonna teach me how you move, and I'm gonna teach you how I move. And that's the best intimacy, period, because now we're learning each other, because a lot of people fail when they talk about what they used to do.
Correct.
You know? So they say, yeah, this girl, she liked me because I put it down. You put it where? You know? Yeah. So now you're comparing what you put down for the woman that you're trying to be with. This is why on one of the shows I even said, I even communicate the fact of, I was like, you know what? I'm ready for a wife, right? So when I said I'm ready for a wife, I call myself a husband, right? What's the difference from me calling myself a husband and you're looking for a job, right? And you say that job is mine. So you're speaking something that be not, that as though it is, right? So if I say that I'm a husband, why am I not doing the same thing? Right? So when I say that I'm a husband, that means that everything in my house, when it comes to my bedroom set, when it comes to different things, if I had other women on this stuff, that means I need to throw this away. Because why would I pour old wine into new wineskin? Why would I try to lay her into my past? Right?
All right, you get a
Great
stamp
point.
on that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So,
respectful.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think that where I wanted to interject is, and I'm so glad that he chose to be honest. The reality is,
Yeah.
if you think about it from academic or spiritual, we do not know the individuals that we come in contact with each
Absolutely.
day. We have absolutely no clue. You may think that my ideals are this. I'm pretty sure it was a shock to you when I just said that I don't identify as a Christian. Because of the way that I speak, most people think that I am a Christian because I do have a respect for God. So you have to take the time. And this is only contingent upon if you really want to have adult healthy relationships. If you don't want to have adult healthy relationships, then everything we're talking about just goes out the window, right? But if you want to have deliberate, purposeful relationships, whether they are friendships or romantic, familiar or otherwise, even like I said, even with my son, I'm relearning these things as I raise this budding man.
Right.
That we are different entities. We
Absolutely.
can't expect each other to like you. I'm not gonna like everything you like. I'm not gonna like everything you like. There
Yes.
shouldn't be an expectation of that.
Yes.
Like you said, there shouldn't be an expectation that I need to somehow fix all the things that your wife did. There
Yeah.
shouldn't be an expectation that I need to, as a friend, if we're good friends, my good girlfriend, she slept with my boyfriend and did all these things, and now you have this wall built up where you want me to tiptoe around you. No, at the end of the day, we all need to be vulnerable enough and emotionally intelligent enough to deal with our own stuff, process it, Now, those relationships can help enrich that process,
Mm-hmm.
but the start of that growth is internal. And if that person outside of you is not willing to do it, then it's pointless. And here's another very specific thing, and then I'll stop, because this is big.
You're fine.
Really, really big to me.
Uh-huh.
The young women that I mentor get into this mentality that there is a rule. There are these parameters, these well-established rules, much like, what is it? Think like a man,
Yeah.
act like a,
Think like a man,
Thank
act
you.
like a woman.
yes, okay. So, when in reality, we all behave
Correct.
how we decide to behave
Mm-hmm.
for each and every encounter we have.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Everyone.
That's
We
good.
decide who we want to be to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's why it's so strange when we have those situations where, like, the woman says, well, I was in a relationship with him, I did all the things that I thought he liked,
Right.
and then he left me, and he said he was never going to get married, he said he was never going to have kids, and he's married, and he has 3 kids.
Yeah.
We all, and it's vice versa. I don't
Yeah.
want to, because I don't want to vilify men.
No, you're
Women do
fine.
the same thing. We decide this. And the reason why that happens is because we're crashing into each other. We're not taking the time to really say, let's really see if we're really compatible. Are we
Yeah.
really compatible?
Right,
Or are we just sexually attracted?
Right.
Maybe minimally we think we have something in common, but as we get to talk about it, we realize we really have nothing in common.
Yes. Yes.
We have to take
Yes.
that time.
You're right. Absolutely right. Tell me your perspective, Danielle. Do you have a perspective on that?
No.
Okay. So listen though, to piggyback off what you're saying, a lot of times too though, people would compartmentalize themselves when it comes to dating, right?
Yes.
Something that is so interesting to me is when someone tells me that I'm waiting on my husband, God is going to send me my husband, right? And they go from work to home, work to home, work to the store, right? So when they do that, then are they telling God that I'm going to find my husband at home, right? So you're tired of being at home, but you're saying that you're going to find your husband at home. So now you're ready for a divorce, right? Because you're going to find your husband at home. So this is why I had that show, the episode on how to date yourself. When you date yourself, right, I go to things, I go to different events. I like to hear music. I'm going I like the beach. I'm going to the beach or whatever. But guess what? I'm going to find my wife, I guarantee you, in one of those locations. And guess what I can guarantee? That she like the same thing because she's in that same area, right?
Well, see, that's a combination of the 2 things that she just spoke about. Number 1, being still. And being resolved that it's okay to be single in that moment. It's not the end of the world.
That's
You
right.
don't need to walk around in desperation. And then number 2, the biblical principle that I love that principle. You need to show yourself friendly first. How in the world do you think you're going to make friends or you're going to have these positive relationships if you're a basket case and just evil and not friendly, not loving?
Right,
So,
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And so with that being said, one of the things that I'm gonna go to the 3rd question, right? Or is there another question?
Well, I have another question, but we can save that for another time.
What is that question?
When dating someone, what are your deal breakers?
The deal breakers.
Yeah.
Hold on. We're gonna put a bookmark right there.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. So the bookmark, I want to get into that one. But do I want to get into that one right now? I want it.
I want to hear what you 2, because I feel like, see, I'm
I
the
want
new
it.
girl, so I want to hear what you 2 have to say.
This is
Let's
the
save it.
first interview. You want to save it?
For the next
Okay.
segment, yeah.
So to actually for the sake of time, right? And also another episode. We're gonna touch that on the next episode. But I want to say this in closing. I want to touch some things, and the things that I want to touch is that I I look at myself as a king. And so with me being a king, that means that I do king things. Meaning that when it comes to dating or meeting a woman, I'm gonna open the door for you. You know, I'm gonna open the door for you, car door, wherever we go, I'm gonna open the door for you because that's what I want to do, not just physically but spiritually. I want to make sure I open the door for you and allow more to flow through it. You know, just for you because I love you. I want to make sure that you're taken care of. I want to make sure you're good, and we're a king. So what ends up happening is a lot of times that people will go to a job and they will say that on that job, what are the benefits? And the owner of the company said, well, we stop at $15 an hour. So that's a ceiling. So with it being a ceiling, you know, you don't really want that job. You don't really want that job because now you have to use those finances like, well, I have all this going on, so how is this going to help me? So people put a ceiling on their relationship initially because, you know, they don't know how to be open. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to, they try to control what their destiny as far as what God wants for them. So they'll go to the store dressed any type of way and say, you know, I'm just going to the store and do this. I'm just going to the store to do this. And you don't know if your husband is at the store. But guess what you're telling God? God, I'm just going to the store. I know how I'm looking, so I don't need to meet nobody today. Right? So you're telling God to wait for your husband at the same time you're telling him you're waiting on a husband. Right? So now you're putting yourself in a position where I'm a king. So if I'm a king, don't give me used things. So when I serve God with the best. I serve God with gold. I serve God with the best. I'm not going to use something that's tainted. So if I'm serving my queen with something that's good, so why in the world wouldn't I expect that in return? Don't try to hand me used stuff. If you had a man laying in this bed, don't send that to me. Don't give me that, right? So these are the questions, like when people have conversation with me. So even to the point where I might ask a woman, you know, I tell you the truth. I asked a woman this one time. I said, where do you? And this is a mental thing. You know, it's not something that we're picking or we're trying to be mean or we're just really trying to help the household. You know, in this conversation. And this is part of the conversation. I asked her a question. I said, when you sleep at night, where do you sleep? Do you sleep closest to the door or you sleep away from the door? Right? They said, why you ask me that? You know, because either you have children or if you don't have children, you have someone coming in, a male coming in your house or somebody that's living with you that sleeps at the door because that's your protector. Right?
Guys, Off the Bench Global, you guys stay tuned for more of the episode, and we have more episodes to come. Make sure you guys are staying tuned. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, YouTube, and also we're Off the Bench Global on IG, and also we're going to have the description of the guests, you know, in the bottom of the screen as far as how you can follow them. They're doing some dope things, so make sure that you guys stay tuned.